Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I have such an exciting and encouraging word that the Lord gave me last week, and I've had it written in my notes for a week now, but this word just came to pass in my own life. So I know that this will be such confirmation to many of you guys who are in this same season or maybe in the same transition where you're like, God, is this really what you're saying to me? Let this word encourage you, okay? So as you can see, the title of this video is God is taking you to the next level, new beginnings. So God is elevating you to the next level. You have passed the test and God is taking you to the next level. He is bringing many of us, including me, into our promised land. And God is saying you have made it through the wilderness. And like always, I'm going to tell you guys how God gave me this word. So I was driving last week and, I've talked about this in my videos before, how God speaks to me. And one of the ways that God speaks to me is through my environment. And one of those ways is through license plates, believe it or not. And so I was driving last week and I drove behind this car with a license plate that said next level on it. And I tried to take a photo, but I couldn't get one because you guys know how I always love to take evidence and take proof and pop them into my videos. I could not get a photo of this. I was trying to drive quickly behind this car and they just kept getting away. But God allowed it to pass before me and let me get the glimpse that said next level. And leading up to that, this is why this is significant. Leading up to that, God kept showing me different words on license plates for 4 days in a row. And they were all confirmations to what he's been showing me and what I've been feeling in my spirit. And the day before that, the day before I saw this car that said next level on it, I was driving behind a car that said, but God. And I have the photo of this license plate, so I'll pop this photo somewhere in here. And the reason why this one was significant is because God had been speaking to me about moving to a new place, a new city. And I was like, God, but you just moved me here to the place that I was at in less than a year ago. You just moved me here. And I started coming up with all these reasons and all these excuses, how it would be difficult to move again and how I would have to sell all of my furniture that I just got and finding a new place in this new city that I'm not even at yet. And the finances, God, how am I going to I need the financial provision to even move and do all of these things. And that's when this car with this license plate that said, but God, drove right in front of me. And I just knew that that was God saying, it doesn't matter what it looks like. Do you trust me? And in the past of my experiences, God has given me the wisdom, to show me that when God is calling you somewhere, when God is showing you something repetitively, when you are feeling something in your spirit, God will provide. If he's given you the signs to go somewhere, let that be the confirmation that he's telling you to go. And if he's calling you to it, he's going to provide a way for you to get there. Okay. And so that was the second time that I've seen a license plate. And the day before that, I drove by a license plate that said favored. And the day before, you guys, I'm not making this up. And the day before that, I drove by a license plate that said sign of God. It was spelled SN of God. And it could also mean son of God, obviously, but it was just so significant because that day I was journaling and that day I was praying and I said, God, send me a sign if I am in your perfect will. Send me a sign if what I am believing and what I am feeling in my spirit of you telling me that this is what you're really saying to me. And then I see a license plate that said son of God or sign of God, however you want to look at it. But I just knew that that was another confirmation to what God had been telling me. And I've been asking God, God, send me a sign. And then it just looked like it said sign of God. So those 4 days in a row, it was nonstop on license plates. And there were always words sometimes God speaks to people through numbers on license plates, but the fact that these were all words that were confirming exactly what God was showing me of what was to come in this next season. And so when I finally saw the last one that said next level, God started speaking to me and he gave me a word. And God is saying he is taking you out of your comfort zone and bringing you into a new season. And so when I started writing this word down and started giving notes, God will just speak to me. And this is exactly what I wrote. And I don't want to miss anything. So if I'm looking over here, I'm going to read you exactly how God gave it to me, okay? God is taking you out of your comfort zone and bringing you into a new season. It's happening suddenly and unexpectedly. For some of you, including me, this is moving to a physical new location. God moved me to a completely different state, and it all happened suddenly. Like literally, he started giving me signs a month ago, and I just moved a few days ago to this new city in a different state. And I was ready to go because God had been speaking to me about it and putting it in my spirit, getting me prepared. And so by faith, you guys, by faith, without having any plan, I started selling my furniture. I started getting rid of things and making room for the new. And by faith, I started reaching out to people who I knew that lived in this new place. Some were realtors, some were friends. And I started looking for a new place to live in this new city. And every door was opening effortlessly. And I found the perfect place, this place that I'm in right now, this perfect place within 1 week. Once I started taking the necessary steps by faith, I found this place 1 week and the door just swung right open. There was no hassles. There was no confusion. There was no delays. Like instantly I found this place within 1 week and things just started happening quickly. And all my furniture, that's one thing I was worried about. I'm like, God, I just bought all of this furniture end of November. I just moved into this brand new apartment and I bought all this new furniture. And I'm like, God, why would you allow me to buy all this new furniture just to move again and just to move out and just to let go of it and sell all of it? And I was like, okay, God, if you are really calling me to this new place, then help me sell my furniture. But I don't know how I'm going to do that within 1 week. Like maybe a month, but within 1 week, Lord, I have to sell all of this stuff because my lease, I was trying to get out of this lease before the end of the month so I wouldn't have to pay another month of rent if God was really calling me to this new place. So by faith, I'm like, okay, this is my last month here at my apartment. And by faith, I just started selling my furniture without having a plan, without even having a place that I signed yet in this new place. And by faith, I just started taking the necessary steps. And that's how you know it's a God thing. If things just start happening effortlessly and fast and quickly and where there's no problems and the doors just start opening. And I didn't know when it was time to go. I did not know. I did not hear a specific day. All I knew was that, if God was telling me this, he was trying to prepare me so that way when he would tell me when it was time to go, I would be prepared and nothing would be able to hold me back. Like saying like, oh, I didn't tell my lease people or, oh, I didn't sell my furniture. God was preparing me. So many of you are going through this same period right now where God has been speaking to you about a place and showing you things and confirming things and sending you repetitive signs. And maybe you are too afraid to take the necessary steps. Maybe you're too afraid to take the leap of faith and believe that God is going to provide and believe what God is showing you. I'm here to tell you, take that step. Or maybe you were like me and maybe he has just moved you somewhere and now you're being moved again. I was literally in this place that God had moved me to before this place for 9 months. It hadn't even been a year yet. And I thought that was my promised land, but I was wrong. It was my testing ground to the place where I am now, which is actually my promised land. So the place that you were at, that God is telling you to move from to a different place, that place was just a testing ground for your promised land. You are going from a place of just enough to a place of more than enough because God had to test you over here to prepare you over here. He had to make sure that you were ready. And before God elevates you or promotes you, there will be many trials and testing of your humbleness. Man, God did a work on me back in this place that I was at, this testing ground, this place that I thought was my promised land, but it was actually just another level of testing, another level of trials. And he wanted to see how I would show up in this new place with new trials and new things that I would have to overcome. And he got rid of my pride. He had to there were days, you guys, where I'm like, how am I going to pay for the basic necessities? I was doing DoorDash. I was doing Uber Eats. I was doing these random side gig jobs. And God really taught me how to be a servant. He really broke off the pride off of me. I used to make fun of those jobs. And I'm like, who does that? Just little things like that. And he stripped me of every single thing, every pride thing that I had. God stripped me up. I was sleeping on an air mattress for the first couple of months before I even moved to the place that I was at. I was in Nashville and, I couldn't afford furniture when I first moved there. I was sleeping on an air mattress for 5 months. I was sleeping on friends' couches and God had to do that. I wouldn't even take away those experiences because God has trained me through those times, because each time God came through, each time God provided for me, each time God paid my bills. I've never had to ask anyone for money. I've never had to miss a bill. And even when I was sometimes 2 months late on my car payment, God provided miraculously. He had to get me into the position to show his glory. And maybe God had been doing that to you guys for the past year, is getting you into a position where you are like, how is God gonna come through? But he does every time. So that place was meant to test you. That place was meant to prepare you for the blessings to come, because God couldn't bless you and give you all of these things if he knew that your character wouldn't be able to handle it, if he knew that you wouldn't be able to know how to steward the finances that he's going to bless you with in this new season. Okay, everything that I just said for the last 3 to 5 minutes wasn't even in my notes, so Holy Spirit, have your way. But yeah, before God elevates you and promotes you, there will be many trials and testing of your humbleness, getting rid of pride, financial trials to see if you will trust that he will provide, trials of your circumstances to see if you will endure and push through, even when everything seems to be going wrong and nothing seems to be working. God had to prepare you, and that was your training ground for this next season that he is bringing you into, okay? So when I started writing down this word of what God was giving me, he gave me scripture to back it up. So I'm going to read this to you, Deuteronomy chapter 11, verses 10 through 11, okay? And it reads, "For the land you are entering to possess," this new land, "it is not like the land of Egypt, where you came from which you have come, where you sowed your seed and irrigated by hand as in a vegetable garden. But the land you are entering to possess is a land of mountains and valleys, watered by rain from the sky." How good is that, okay? This whole passage, Deuteronomy 11, this whole passage is about blessings in the new land, in your promised land. God was giving Israel a promise of a land which did not need to be artificially irrigated by hand, but watered by rains from God, a land flowing with milk and honey, a land filled with abundance and provision. And then God led me to Joshua 24:13, and it reads, this is the NIV version, "So I gave you a land on which you did not toil, and cities you did not build, and you live in them and eat from vineyards and olive groves that you did not plant." And God is saying, where you used to have to toil and work just to survive and make ends meet, you will now enjoy a land where there will be effortless provision. This is the land that he's bringing you into. This is the land that he wants you to possess. This is your promised land, the land flowing with milk and honey. And God is saying he is taking you to the next level. You do not need to hold on to the things that you had while you were in survival mode. You can let go of those things and make room for the new. And God is saying you are coming out of survival mode, and I am bringing you into a place of abundance and provision, a place that will be watered by me and not by your own hand. And to give you a personal example of this, when I was moving out of Nashville and I was moving into this new place, there were a lot of things that I'm like, do I still need this? Do I still need this air mattress? Like, what if I need it again when I'm in this new place? What if I can't afford furniture? And I started thinking of all these things. And you know what's so funny? You know how God works? While I was, cleaning up this air mattress and like cleaning it and like folding it up and just making sure like everything was like packed and squished and everything, as I was doing that, I accidentally got a hole in the air mattress. Like as I was folding and as I was packing and doing all these things, I accidentally burst a hole through this air mattress. And I'm like, okay, great. This 100, because it was like a nicer air mattress. I'm like, great. This $100 air mattress is now broken. And great. Now what am I going to do if I can't afford furniture and all these things? And God started speaking to me. He's like, Alicia, you don't need that. I'm not taking you from a place of lack to another place of lack. I'm taking you from a place of lack to a place of abundance. I'm taking you from a place of lack to a place of provision. You don't need those things. Let go of those things. You have passed the test. You have passed the trials. You have seen and endured and pushed through when you didn't have anything. You still worked. You still posted YouTube videos when you weren't getting anything. You still posted YouTube videos when you weren't getting the views. You still showed up, and you do not need those old things anymore. And I don't know who I'm speaking to right now, but God is saying, let go of those things. Let go of the things that you held on to from being in survival mode. Let go of those things. And during this week when all this was happening, God gave me a prophetic dream to go along with this word. So in this dream, I was going up an elevator all the way to the top floor. It kept going to the next level until I was on the top floor of this penthouse suite. It was the very, very top floor of this building. And in this suite, I was sitting in front of a mirror and I was wearing a crown. Like it was like I won a pageant or something, but I didn't think it looked good on me or the way that it was sitting on my head with my hair. And I kept trying to reposition this crown and I didn't like how it looked. I kept taking it off. I didn't feel like I was good enough to wear this crown. And I was just trying to like reposition it multiple times. And in this dream, I was running this business that God had been calling me to step into in real life. And I just like saw the future me. Like I could see in the future of what God was showing me what was to come. And I didn't understand what it meant when I first woke up. But days later, God gave me the revelation to this dream and the interpretation. And I know it's for many of you right now going through this transition period where God is taking you to the next level, taking off the old self and getting rid of the old garments and stepping into your new assignment, stepping into a higher position of influence, stepping into a higher position of authority. And you aren't going to feel ready, which is why in my dream, I kept taking off this crown and trying to fix it and reposition it multiple times. I didn't feel ready, but God is saying you are ready. That is why I have given you the crown. That is why I am bringing you into this new place. That is why I'm giving you these new assignments. You just need to step into it. Just like Esther, who had to step into her position as queen and approach the king with boldness and faith. God is saying the same to you, that you need to have the courage to step into this new position, this new location, or this new assignment that he is calling you into. And, leading up into this word that God was giving me, he kept showing me the words new beginnings the last few weeks. And I was driving a few weeks ago and I looked in my rear view mirror and there was a semi truck behind me, but I could not see the semi truck behind me because it was way taller than my car. But in the rear view mirror, I saw the words new beginnings. It was positioned perfectly in this mirror of where the truck had lined up. The front of his truck had lined up exactly where my rear view mirror was. And all I could see was not even the truck. I just saw the words new beginnings. Pop in the photo somewhere over here too. But it was perfectly positioned. And instantly the Holy Spirit started speaking to me, saying new beginnings are closer than they appear, because that's what it says on windows and rear view mirrors and side mirrors. It says objects in mirror are closer than they appear, that new beginnings are closer than they appear. And literally, you guys, a week later after I saw that, that's when God started speaking to me about this new location that he was trying to move me to. And so God was preparing me with this word saying new beginnings are coming. A week later, he started speaking to me, giving me these downloads, giving me these dreams, giving me these signs and confirmations of showing me this place. And by faith, I started taking the steps. I sold all my furniture. I signed a lease for a new place to live in. And it was only by trusting God and being obedient that all the doors started to open. They were flying open. Not only did God bless me with this beautiful place, it's furnished, completely furnished. I didn't need to bring a single thing. The rooms are amazing, like beds and dishes, and it's brand new. It hasn't even been a year, this place, a brand new place. He blessed me with this place, you guys, because I took the necessary steps. And if I didn't sell my furniture and if I kept all those old things, I wouldn't have even had enough room to even put it in here, because everything is already stocked and furnished and I have everything that I need. And God says, you will not lack in this place. And I am just a living proof of a testimony that when God is calling you to a place and he's telling you to get rid of the old, it's because he has so much better for you. He doesn't need you to take these things and hold on to the things that you had in survival mode. He wants you to bring you into this new place, and he's going to provide everything that you need in this new place. To get to the next level that God is taking you, you need to start taking the necessary steps. If God is telling you to move, it is crucial that you move when he says move. If I did not move at the time that he told me to move, this place that I would have moved into, it would have probably already gotten booked if I had waited one more day. It had been on the market for literally only like a few days, and I can only imagine, because this place is amazing, and it would have gotten booked. But if I didn't start looking, if I didn't start preparing, if I didn't start selling my furniture, I wouldn't have had this place. So if God is saying to move at a certain time, you need to move. You just need to trust him, and you just need to move. If he's telling you to post something on social media to try to get answers somewhere, it is crucial that you obey, because the open doors that he wants to give you are tied to the instructions that he is giving you. It is tied to your obedience, and it is tied to your faith. And God is saying it's time to possess the land that he has been showing you, okay? Because if I didn't do what God was telling me, if I didn't do all those things, I wouldn't have been prepared when he said go. I didn't receive instructions before selling my furniture or before looking for a place to live. I did all of those by faith, because I knew that God would open doors as I continued taking the steps. To get to the next level, you must take the necessary steps. It's no coincidence that when God was giving me instructions and revelation about this move, these license plates, I had the words I needed for 4 days in a row. It said sign of God, then favored, then it was but God, and the last one being next level. God is giving you favor in this next season. And you might be thinking, just like I did, of all these reasons or excuses why you can't move or can't do this because you don't have the finances or the resources or the connections or XYZ. But let me tell you, I am living proof time and time again that if God is calling you to it, he will give you the provision for it. You just need faith and to trust him. Because trust me, I was like, move again, God. Like, I just moved here and you want me to move again. And when he first spoke to me about this new place, I moved exactly a month later, just in 1 month. As soon as he started showing me these things, I started seeking him, I started praying, and I just kept taking the necessary steps. And next thing you know, door after door after door opened effortlessly. He provided the finances, he opened a place for me to stay, and he allowed me to sell my furniture. And all this happened within 1 month completely, but all the furniture and all the lease and everything signed within 1 week. God rewards your faith and your obedience, and he will make it known, trust me, when he is telling you something or telling you to go somewhere. If something is showing up repetitively, it is not a coincidence, you guys. It is God trying to send you a message and trying to speak to you. So when this starts happening, pray about it and ask God for instructions and guidance because he will give it to you. And as you begin to take these steps, the Lord will give you the next step and the next step and the next step. These steps are eventually going to get you to the next level. These steps are getting you to the next level. Get rid of the old and make room for the new. You will not need the things you held onto from this old season. You will not need that air mattress, okay? That's what God was telling me. You will not need that air mattress anymore. God is bringing you into the new. This next level doesn't need your baggage from the old season. And for some of you guys, that is figurative, but for some, that is actually literal. Let this be confirmation for whatever the Lord has been speaking to you about, okay? And that's it for the word, you guys. I just pray that this video blessed you and encouraged you for you to take the necessary steps into this next season. And if this word blessed you and you feel led to sow into this ministry, the links will be pinned in the comments or in the description box below. Thank you for everyone who has sown into this ministry and supported the ministry. I love you guys all so much. May the Lord bless you 100-fold. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.